I didn't think much of the diner when I first walked in. It was one of those roadside places that looked permanently stuck in the early 2000s, faded posters on the walls, cracked red booths, and a neon open sign that flickered like it was struggling to stay awake. Honestly, I only stopped because my head was pounding and my vision had started to blur during the long drive home. The bell above the door chimed softly as I entered. A single waitress stood behind the counter, wiping down coffee mugs. She looked up immediately, her eyes sharp and observant in a way that made me feel oddly exposed. "Sit wherever you like," she said gently. I slid into a booth near the window. My hands were trembling slightly, though I told myself it was just fatigue. I'd been pushing myself too hard lately, long hours at work, little sleep, too much coffee, and not enough real food. The waitress came over with a menu but didn't hand it to me right away. Instead, she studied my face. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah," I replied quickly, "just tired." She didn't look convinced but nodded anyway. "I'll bring you some water first." The cold glass felt grounding when she placed it in front of me. I drank it too fast, nearly choking. My chest tightened, and for a moment, the room tilted. "You sure you're all right?" she asked again, this time more firmly. "I'm fine," I insisted, forcing a smile. "Just need to eat something." I ordered a sandwich I barely wanted and sat staring at the table while my heartbeat thudded loudly in my ears. The diner was almost empty, just an older man quietly sipping coffee at the counter and a couple whispering to each other in the far corner. As the minutes passed, my hands grew colder. I noticed the waitress watching me from behind the counter, her concern becoming harder to ignore. When my food arrived, I managed a few bites, but nausea rolled through me. Sweat gathered on my forehead. My vision blurred again, worse this time. "I think I should go," I muttered, pushing the plate away. I stood too quickly. The room spun violently, forcing me to grab the edge of the table to stay upright. I ignored the waitress calling after me as I stumbled toward the exit. Just as I tried to leave, the waitress rushed past me and locked the door. She turned, her face pale but determined, and whispered, "Don't you dare pass out." I blinked in confusion. "What? Why did you lock the door?" "Because you're about to collapse," she said quietly, "and I need you to stay conscious." Her voice wasn't panicked. It was calm, controlled, the kind of voice that makes you listen even when your brain is foggy. "I'm fine," I protested weakly. She stepped closer, placing a steadying hand on my shoulder. "Look at me, your lips are turning pale, your hands are shaking. Sit down now." Something in her tone cut through my stubbornness. I let her guide me back to the booth. My legs felt like they didn't belong to me. She grabbed a small medical kit from behind the counter and returned quickly. "What's your name?" she asked. "Armin," I said. "Okay, Armin, I'm Sana. Stay with me. When was the last time you ate properly?" I tried to think but couldn't remember. My thoughts felt slippery. "Yesterday, maybe." She nodded as if confirming a suspicion. "Do you have diabetes? Any medical conditions?" "No, I don't think so," I whispered. She pricked my finger with a small device from the kit. I barely felt it. She frowned at the reading. "Your blood sugar is dangerously low," she said. "I used to be a nurse. You need sugar now." She rushed to the kitchen and returned with orange juice and packets of sugar. She watched closely as I drank. The older man at the counter stood and approached quietly. "Everything all right?" he asked. "She's got it," the couple in the corner said softly, though they kept glancing over with concern. The world still felt distant, like I was watching everything through thick glass. Sana kept talking to me, asking simple questions: my age, where I was coming from, whether I had family nearby. "Don't close your eyes," she warned gently whenever my lids grew heavy. "Keep talking to me." Minutes passed slowly. Gradually, the spinning eased. My hands stopped shaking as violently. The juice began to work its magic. "I thought I was just tired," I murmured. She gave a small, sympathetic smile. "A lot of people do, but you were minutes away from fainting, and that could have been dangerous, especially if you drove." I stared at the locked door. "You really thought I was that bad?" "I've seen people pass out before," she said softly. "You had the same look, distant, pale, confused. I couldn't let you walk out." I swallowed, suddenly overwhelmed by gratitude. "Thank you." She shrugged lightly. Anyone would have done the same. But I wasn't so sure about that. After another 15 minutes, my strength slowly returned. Color came back to my hands. The pounding in my head faded into a dull ache. Sana finally unlocked the door but didn't rush me out. Instead, she brought more food, something simple and warm, and insisted I eat slowly. As I sat there, reality settled in. I realized how close I had been to collapsing alone in a parking lot, or worse, behind the wheel. "You saved me," I said quietly. She leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "You saved yourself by walking in here." The older man returned to his coffee, and the couple resumed their quiet conversation. The diner felt warmer now, more alive. I told Sana about my life, how I'd been overworking, skipping meals, ignoring warning signs. She listened without judgment, occasionally nodding like she understood more than she said. "People push themselves too hard," she said finally. "They think strength means ignoring their body, but real strength is listening before it's too late." Her words hit harder than I expected. When I finally felt steady enough to stand, I paid my bill and left a tip that barely expressed my gratitude. Before leaving, I turned back to her. "I don't know how to thank you," I said. She smiled warmly. "Take care of yourself, that's enough." The cool evening air greeted me as I stepped outside. The sky was painted in soft orange and purple hues, and for the first time in weeks, I felt fully present. I sat in my car for a moment before starting the engine, reflecting on how easily things could have gone wrong. That night changed more than just my health, it shifted my priorities. I started eating properly, resting more, and paying attention to the signals my body sent. I scheduled a doctor's appointment and learned that stress and poor nutrition had pushed me to a dangerous edge. Weeks later, I returned to the diner, not because I needed help, but because I wanted to say thank you again. The neon open sign still flickered, the booths were still cracked, but to me, it felt like a place where someone cared enough to stop a stranger from falling. Sana recognized me instantly. "You look better," she said with a proud grin. "I feel better," I replied. We talked for a while, laughing about how stubborn I had been that night. Before I left, she handed me a small card. "Just a reminder," she said. On it was written a simple message. "Listen to your body, it whispers before it screams." As I drove away, I realized that sometimes the smallest moments, a locked door, a stranger's concern, a whispered warning, can change the direction of your life. And every time I pass a roadside diner now, I remember the night someone refused to let me walk out and disappear into danger. Because sometimes, the people who save us aren't heroes in capes. They're just kind strangers who notice when we're about to fall, and stay with us until we're strong enough to stand again.